Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sudhir Matta. I'm the VP of Products here at Juniper's AI driven enterprise. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce and bring on to this conversation Stan Ringo, manager of the enterprise networking team at Waste Management. Stan, great to have you on the call today. We're excited. Absolutely amazing partnership we've had with you. And so let's dive into this. This is going to be of significant interest for a lot of customers who are sort of watching and seeing Juniper as a leader in this marketplace, but really wondering, hey, I got this investment in my existing vendor, whether it's Cisco, Aruba, or whomever, and really, they're thinking, okay, what was your journey like? What were the things that were your considerations, and how did it all evolve and how did it come to fruition? So before we answer all of that, Stan, maybe a quick intro for you and a quick intro to Waste Management.
Yes, Sudhir. Thanks for having me. My name is Stan Ringo. I am the network manager at Waste Management. My team that is under me, we own everything as it relates to the entire network. So, again, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You have an exciting story to share, and we have a lot of customers very interested and eager to understand, other customers' journeys, right? So maybe let me start with, Stan, what's your vision? Where was the network at Waste Management? What did you think of and start this journey with? What was this mobile strategy at Waste Management before you met Juniper and Mist?
Sure, yeah. So, when I took over the reins of this team, we started off with many projects. One was refreshing our fleet. We had a data center migration as well as a building our corporate campus building, our headquarters, if you will. And each one of those, the goal was to streamline efficiency as well as improve the user experience.
Right. And so what's the usage of Wi-Fi at Waste Management? Tell us sort of how much of your user base is mobile. What does Wi-Fi mean? How much of the is mandatory? How much of it is business critical? Is it casual? What's the base of Wi-Fi at Waste Management?
Yeah, so we have a digital transformation initiative. Along with that initiative is, the mobility piece, which is huge for us. Whether it's a BYOD with an iPad or an iPhone or a corporate asset like a laptop. So, we are pretty much untethered from here on out. Nobody really likes having to plug in using the wire. So Wi-Fi is important to us going forward, especially given the fact that it affects whether it's the corporate users in a branch location or in a landfill where it's a truck docking, things like that. So the wide array of applications that the Wi-Fi affects, I mean, it's really important to us.
It's, if I may say so, you're practically sort of an all wireless office, right? People are coming in expecting it's just going to be like at home. You open up a laptop and off you go, and you're working. So is that a fairly accurate statement? Other than, of
That-
course, you have your wired devices, your video cameras, and IoT
Sure.
devices.
Absolutely, 100% correct. Yes, it's only getting more and more, and it's growing every day. It seems like.
So that being the base, you had an existing vendor that you were working with. What were some of the challenges? What were some of the drivers that made you look at, hey, let's go look at what may be out there? What prompted an investigation to go beyond what was your existing vendor?
Yeah, so it all started with our corporate headquarters. We were migrating out of two existing buildings with one of your competitors as our Wi-Fi incumbent, if you will. But really, what we wanted was a better user experience. That was kind of mandated from the top of user experience. Network is always the first thing to be blamed. So, reducing ticket queues was huge for us. Getting our minds wrapped around how we can accomplish that with the old archaic systems, it just wasn't scalable. So we started looking towards a cloud delivered type of platform such as Mist.
Right. And so tell us about the journey. How did you hear about Juniper Mist? How was the first meeting and first interaction like? what caught your attention to say, this is something that we should actually look at? Walk us through that discovery process, because a lot of customers are intrigued but are still like, yeah, I have so much sunk investment in my existing vendor. And so walk us through your sort of discovery process here.
Yeah, so we had an initial engineering task of trying to figure out, what is current, what is new, what's coming across. Wi-Fi 6 was at the time definitely coming our way. But we're looking for, kind of as it pertains to our flagship building, a wireless platform that would be solid, secure and stable, and the ability to, not have to have the same challenges as a legacy system, such as, upgrading access points and things like that. But what really, kind of separated Mist from everyone else was the self healing, the AI. At the time, it was fairly new, but once we started putting it through the paces, we were able to see that there's real performance gained out of this, and it doesn't take much to realize that with that the ticket queues will drop. So all in all, the experience, like going back to the original, mandate was to improve user experience. It ticked all the boxes.
Right. One of the things that we say, Stan, and it's so grateful to watch this happen, right? Because we are bold enough, or maybe stupid enough, to make bold assertions, right? We make bold
Sure.
claims. We did that with you and your team, and I think the first reaction for a lot of our customers is, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold the horses, man! This is a lot of promise. I mean, a lot of very interesting stuff. If it lands and is useful and is good, that's great. But you're telling me my ticket queues will go down. It's a self-driving network. It'll sort of self-operate itself or self-orchestrate the channels and power consumption configuration for a great user experience. We say deploy the APs and sort of step back and watch the network happen. What was your experience? How much of the promises did we keep? How did your team feel? Did we overpromise, underdeliver? Did the product meet the expectations and the commitment that was sort of in the initial PowerPoint and the euphoria?
Yeah, sure. So with the old legacy setup that we had, it was always problems, always issues. When we deployed in our campus building in early 2020 with a very small user set due to the COVID-19 endeavor that we're going through. But once the users started coming back at the beginning of this year, the people were calling in saying, "Hey, there was issues." We were able to use that AI in the platform to determine whether it was indeed a Wi-Fi issue or coverage or something with the laptop. A majority of the time, close into the 90% percentile, was usually just a laptop issue or something along those lines, and we were able to prove it. And as an owner of a network, that's huge because it reduces the engineering efforts of troubleshooting, kind of demystifying a lot of the technicals on the back end that maybe some engineers won't know. So I mean, it was huge to have all of that pre-baked, if you will, to kind of get faster resolution and then the performance. So it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And I think, today, I mean, you have some really talented people on your team. They were hard to please, but I think, when we
True.
talk to them now, when we talk to them now, truly, it feels like, we've turned the lights on in sort of a dark room from a network experience perspective. Would you say so?
Yeah, the big thing to me is somebody asked me recently, would you do that all over again with the Mist platform? Absolutely. I rinse and repeat all day because again, the level of success and the minimal issues, I mean, that's huge for someone trying to support an enterprise network.
One of the hurdles, Stan, and you are living embodiment of this, for most of our customers, new customers, the challenge the hurdle they can't get over is, oh my God, I got two systems, right? I'll have two systems for quite some time. How do I even dip my toes into this? You're living this right now. I mean, you still have a mega, incumbent legacy, wireless network still running. How is your team tackling two systems? What has Mist brought to either make their life easier and liberate a little bit of time? How is your team tackling two systems, and how did you think of this transition? How did you explain to your leadership, hey, we can manage this? You obviously the brand spanking new headquarters, you got new Wi-Fi, but that's not all you operate. You operate a global network.
Yes, correct. So the incumbent Wi-Fi system, it is not perfect. It's hard to say anything's perfect, but really what we wanted to get out of the platform was just the better user experience. In some locations, a commodity type Wi-Fi is okay, but our flagship building where a lot of the higher brass sit, we want to make that experience for all users, not just them, the best it possibly can. So when we did that evaluation, we looked at it, and we saw that the writing was on the wall, based compared to the incumbent, that we would get a better experience for them by employing this type of system.
Right, great. Okay, now let's tackle something every IT leader in your shoes is dealing with, right? Return to work. How are you thinking about it? How are you preparing for it? How much of your workforce has returned and or is returning? And what was sort of the thought process and preparation that went into it?
Yeah, so the return to work, we knew it was coming at some point, with everyone else dealing with the same endeavor, but we knew that there was going to be an influx of devices coming in, whether it was wired or wireless. But what we've seen is that the wireless, the mobility, is becoming more prevalent. We've been very fortunate that we had the opportunity to go down this route. And again, now that everybody is, I would say we're probably about 40 to 50% back, not 100% every day, but we get some of these calls around the Wi-Fi issues and things like that. And luckily, with the Mist platform and the AI, the engineers don't take very long to identify and isolate the issues and ultimately get resolution. So we've been very fortunate to be able to kind of drive our path, and we've been successful.
Yeah, I think, for a lot of folks that are returning to work right now and bringing employees back to work, one of the things that they don't account for is just the number of devices people are carrying has grown through the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's bought an Apple Watch or an
sure.
iPad or something else, right? Device
Yeah,
explosion. And then the other thing is the device behavior itself has changed, right? iPhones use random max now, Androids
yes,
use random max now. And so just the burden on the network is significantly different. We've seen this in the fall of 2021 for the higher education university space. Networks exploded, right? So
yeah.
in a lot of our competitive environments, they really struggled with that. And so something that we've really accounted for and really planned for is the evolution of more devices and more types of devices and more problems. So yeah, no, absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you're almost 50% back to work now. So that's great. And then last but not least, probably one of the most important considerations, right, is when someone makes a decision to choose a networking partner, right? It's a long commitment. Sometimes it's a career decision, right?
Yeah,
And so it matters.
it
It
does.
matters. And we at Juniper say we're not a vendor to you. We're a partner to you. We're an extension of your team. And we say this to every one of our customers is that's just culturally how we're built. Is we're not a vendor. We're not throw it over the wall and good luck and have
Right.
fun kind of people. Talk about sort of the partnership you've had with the Juniper Mist account teams and just Juniper as a company in general.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like some of our success would not have been reached without our account team. Whether it's our SEs, the account manager, they've been very stellar in, whether it's answering questions, demystifying some of the licensing, things like that. And we move very fast. So, be able to have a partnership of partners that can keep up with us is huge for us. And the Juniper team's been very excellent in that regard.
Yeah. No, thank you, Stan. You've been a great partner. A lot of times,
Thank you.
we rely on sort of innovation leaders like you leaning in a little, right? Otherwise, it's always, hey, I'm comfortable with the incumbent. Yes, it's not as rosy as it could be, but you know what? I'll just live through it, right? But we
Yep.
do lean in on innovation leaders such as you. So we sincerely appreciate just the partnership, the trust, and the commitment you and your team have made to us. So thank you very much on behalf of all of Juniper for being a valued customer, and especially getting on this call and sharing sort of your success with our customers. So any last words before we wrap this down?
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.